Ron Brown, Tom Kaluzny, and myself and Carrie. And I know there's a few others. If you're from Waterford and you're willing to teach a lost soul, raise your hand. This is no disgrace if you don't have your hand up. Okay, got Dave Simpson, Don Robinson. You were up here last week.
No, but I'm from Waterford.
And I saw another hand, Ron Engelhardt, John Clark, and Alan Fish. See, we have plenty of teachers. Okay, that's important. And so the responsibility of us as a bringer, remember we had a group down here. So I want you to imagine in your mind quickly, there's a few people right here that are teachers. And then come on over here, and then there's another group of those who we have prepared and trained with the mindset to take these babes in Christ and secure them. Okay? And I asked those in the audience who had ever been in a Brother's Keeper class to stand up, and I think we had about 40 people stand up. So you see, this is the model that's in place at Waterford. And it comes directly. Everything we have to offer is 2,000 years old. There's nothing new. Okay? And so we have now the idea to impress you with about your role and our role as a bringer. Normally what happened, I love that. Was that awesome this morning or what? The energy. You from Lake Orion, wasn't that awesome, that sermon we heard this morning? Yeah, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Carrie has this way of energizing our spirit, and I think it's phenomenal. But in there were wonderful nuggets that just my ears caught about guilt motivation. That gets you to do the bare minimum. And I'm doing it because I have kind of a guilty thing. That's not effective, and it's also short term, and it's grossly ineffective. It doesn't work. And that's not how we do evangelism. So what I want to do tonight is, I've only got about 10 minutes left, but I want to share with us the mindset that the Holy Scriptures teach about each of these areas, but specifically for the next 2 weeks about this area of inviting people. Okay? Turn to Matthew chapter 10, if you will. Because under each of the areas, Matthew 28 is the high view. That's the overall command. But there are dozens of scriptures that we could roll down under each one of these that help our insight and our understanding. Now, I want you to think about yourself. Have you ever invited somebody to a Bible study or worship or some type of an invitation so they could meet either members of the church so we could introduce them to Jesus, and you were told no? Think about that. If you've ever invited anybody of any volume, you were told no. And we're going to talk about that tonight a little bit. How did you feel? Well, I don't want answers right now. I'm sorry, and I appreciate that, Michelle, very much. I got 10 minutes. I can't give you 2. But the idea generally is we become defeated, or the sense of failure. Next week, I'm going to lay out 6 reasons why it's okay, or actually good, to get a no answer. Now, yes, we want everybody to become a Christian. We want everybody to say yes. But I'll give you 6 reasons why no is not something we should take as a negative against ourselves. Matthew 10:16. Jesus is about to go back to the Father, and he's going to lay out to us the territory that we're going out into. Okay, he doesn't just say, go do it. He's saying, listen, here's the territory. This is what's going on. I send you like sheep among wolves. See the territory? Now think about tossing a sheep into a wolf pack. That sheep is done, right? This is what he is saying. He said, this is what it's like. I'm sending you like a sheep out into a wolf pack. Therefore, be wise as a serpent and innocent as a dove. If your version says gentle, that's not really a great translation. The translation, the Greek word actually means unmixed. In other words, go out and approach them and offer to them, but be careful. Don't join them. You know, we have some wonderfully nice people we have as friends. We just love being around them. But if they're not in Christ, Jesus said, you're for me or you're against me. And we have to be careful that it doesn't draw us, that their niceness doesn't draw us away. See, nice people don't go to heaven. Blood-washed sinners go to heaven. It's very important to understand that. And so Jesus is telling us the territory. And he says, because I'm sending you like sheep out into amongst wolves, He's telling us it's going to be tough. So be smart about it. That's why we don't just run in the middle of a mall and say, anybody want to study Jesus? See, that's not smart. That's not effective. Okay? And if you do it and you're successful at it, I'll be thrilled to be proven wrong in that regard. But in most cases, that's just not going to be received as very effective by those that are hearing it. There's cunning and craft. When he says wise, you got to think about it and be smart about it. Okay? Now, next passage I want to look at is Matthew 7:7. This is a principle. Seek and you shall find. What if you're not seeking? What'd you say, Curtis? You can't find. You won't find. If you're not seeking for righteousness and truth, you cannot find. They can't find it. So if you approach somebody and you offer it to them and they turn you down, oftentimes we take it personally. But you see, if they're not seeking, they cannot find. I'm going to use Joy and Sonny Girdley as an example. And the only reason I'm going to do it is because you called me a liar after I was back from my honeymoon. True story. Michelle, I got back from our honeymoon. Somebody said, "You had your first flight in?" I said, "No." I goes, "You're a liar." And I said, "How'd you know?" I said, "We made more in a week. You don't agree on everything." I was going to tell you. So I'm going to use Joy and Sonny. Known Joy and Sonny since I was baptized at University Drive 100 years ago. Okay? This may be news to you all, but Joy and Sonny are going to have another child. No, Joy and Sonny. Man, you should see the looks I'm getting right now. Joy and Sonny too. But see, here's the twist on this one. Sonny's going to carry this child, not Joy. What do you think, women? And I know all of you are having your thoughts right now, the humor of it. Why? Because it is the most ridiculous thing. We could try to guilt motivate him into it. We could try to plead with him. Even if somebody said, okay, he can't. Is that correct? That's correct. This is the same situation with somebody who is not seeking. Turn to 1 Corinthians chapter 2 and look at verse 14. Paul has just told the church that the only thing, like I think you used like this morning. I don't know what you're thinking right now. He does. See, nobody but the man. And he says, we have the Spirit of God within us. And in verse 14, he says, the natural man does not receive the things of God. It's folly to him. Why? Because they're spiritually discerned. And if someone isn't seeking anything spiritual, they can't receive it. Sonny cannot bear a child. Even if he wanted, it's just out of the question. And this is the same with someone who is not seeking the truth. They can't receive it. Does that make sense to you? But oftentimes, we have this false idea or concept that if I knock on somebody's door, I need to baptize them before I leave the porch. We've got it mixed up. And if we do talk to 10 or 12 or 15 people and they say no, we start to question ourselves, don't we? I'm no good at evangelism. I'm not cut out for this. The reality is found in Matthew chapter 13. Shouldn't have gone down without my notes. Matthew 7, 13 and 14. Wide is the gate to destruction, right? Narrow is the gate to life, and there's few that find it. Right? So what does that say about those of us who we're going to reach out to and offer spiritual things to them? The majority are going to say no, right? Is that a fair conclusion from the passage? and the fewer are going to say yes. You see why it would be so wrong for us to stand here as a leadership and say, go invite a bunch of people. And so I'll use the illustration with Todd. Todd invites 8 or 9 people, and they all say no. And so Todd shows up, friends and family, and say, but did you invite your friends? And he feels like a failure because he had nobody come. Where in the eyes of God, he's a resounding success because he's done exactly what God told him to do. His territory was all over here. The view had come across his path. You see how this makes a change in our thought process about how you reach out to people? That when they say no, don't take it personally. There's 3 persons always involved in every evangelistic approach. There's me. Keep a line there, and there's the hearer. And keep a line there, and then there's God. Forget about God's area. Now, we need His counsel. We can't help that area. We cannot improve that area. Does God ever sleep? No. Does He ever miss the secret? No. That He will bring it to us if we ask. So stay out of that 3rd area, okay? Let God, He's got all control, far beyond what we could ever do. The only thing we can do is damage it, and we do, and here's why. We have a line here between myself and the hearer. And when I approach the hearer and I get told no, so often we go back and we say, you know, if I would have said it like this, or if I would have said that. Oh, so you're the power? So you just jumped into God's area. If that person was seeking, guess what? They would have latched on to your invitation. So stay out of God's area. The power's not in you. We're waterers and planters. And the reason I said stay out of God's area is we can't help. And the reason I say don't let that line disappear between the hearer and me is because they will dim your pearl. They will take that shine off this pearl of great price, your salvation, and, you know, a bunch of no's, and we start to step away from the beauty that's in Christ. Maybe it's not as all powerful, wonderful as I had once thought. You see the difference in the mindset? The encouragement that you cranked out this morning was phenomenal. But we can't have a zeal without knowledge. So the nuggets that Carrie put out this morning and some of the insights that we're trying to lay out tonight for you are very, very important to help us understand the difference between success and failure. You know, Lions were 0-16 a few years back, right? Remember the next year? 2-14. Practically gave them the keys to the city. You know? And yet the team that lost the Super Bowl said our whole year was a total failure. You see, no wonder we're skewed on success and failure. But in the eyes of God, we're success, yes, even if people say no to us 1,000 times over, because there are seekers out there, brethren, that you may be the only one that have a chance to get to them, and they're there. Do not let all that darkness, those wide path of trampling that's going on, stop you from, one, having the excitement that Carrie generated within us this morning from a biblical perspective, and number 2, from getting to that soul that's out there. We were in Pennsylvania last weekend at a seminar with Joe and Jerry and Tom Kaluzny, Michelle and I. I told a story that Dave told here one time, and I think it's appropriate. There was an earthquake, and a little boy was caught underneath. And for 2 days, that little boy's father just dug. His hands were bloody, and you can only imagine the emotions this father was going through. Eventually, he found that little boy calling his name out. And there was a little boy that was found with his child. And after the hospitalization, they asked the little boy who was with the father's son, what made you hang on? And my friend just kept telling me, my daddy's coming. My daddy's coming. My daddy's coming. My daddy will not leave me here. And if we can apply that to the thoughts of those seekers that are out there, don't let the non-seekers disturb you or throw you off course. This is one of the most powerful tools of Satan. Just don't let it be effective in your life. Thank you. Next week, 6 reasons why no is not a bad answer.
Before Carrie comes up, let's sing one verse of